What's going on, guys? I'm Dr. D with Dr. Lynn with the Daily Feel Good. And today, sometimes we're feeling stuck, but we can do better. We can be better. That's what we're talking about today. But before we get into it, please, we always ask this because we need your help. Please share if you found any of this valuable, interesting, you think others can benefit. Please like, share, we appreciate it. Can't do it without you. Now, let's start to become better because we are better. Because I think right now, we talked about it. We're kind of going through this flux again. We're going into August, stuff is starting to happen again. Stress is starting to feed on us. And there's a lot of new changes and things happening. When changes happen, I think it overwhelms us. It makes us feel stuck. Schedules change and then we don't know what to do and we kind of like freeze up and we just don't take action. So I think we wanted to talk about some of the topics of how we can get unstuck, how we can stay positive through all this, and how we can continue to grow when there's so many things working against us to feel like we can't improve or we can't grow or we can't continue to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, I think a lot of, what's happened in this past year has gotten us down a little bit. And I think it's to the point where halfway through the year and we're like, oh my gosh, like, what can I do? I'm really feeling the repercussions of not having my normal routine. And we've talked to a lot of ladies and a lot of ladies feel this way. So we thought we'd make a little mindset piece and focus on the mindset here. And we have 4 top bullet points that we do want to go over to get ourselves unstuck kind of thing. And I know when our mind goes to certain places, maybe like you said, more negative, it's hard to get out of that. And we feel very stuck. We're at a plateau. We feel low energy. We're not making progress. What can we do? So the first thing that I like to say, and what we do too, is control what you can control. Control what you can control. There's a lot of uncontrollable things right now, I guess, but there also are a lot of controllable things as well. So I think, again, with feeling stuck, we feel like we're out of control and we don't know where to start. So the first thing, like when we're talking about health and fitness, control what you can control is a lot of, I was going to say the second point. Do you want to say? I was going to say the second bullet point, but I don't want to say it yet.
Yeah, so we always live by this, to control what you can control.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I think that's a great point, that when we feel out of control, we focus so much on the things that we can't control, right. And then it's a vicious cycle of continuing to feel out of control. So what has helped me, and I know we both practice it, is when we feel like that and those times happen, you have to start to take the actions on the things that we can control. I've heard simple examples given of just making your bed. It's silly, but it's such a simple action of taking control of something. You do it, you did it, you're back in control. For me personally, whenever I've felt out of control, some of the things that I've done is always going to the gym, always working out and getting my workouts in. It's always kind of brought me back to my balance, my back down to earth kind of thing. Is if I get my workout in, I feel better. It brings me into something I've always done for years, and it kind of like brings me back to like zero. And that, and then meal prepping, going to the grocery store. I know it's silly, but we've moved quite a bit from state to state over the years, and people are like, well, how do you do that? Well, it's the same routine, that we've used no matter where we live or what we do, whether it's being at school, job, state to state. It's all the same. So if you can bring those core things back to what we can control, it usually helps me reset where I'm at.
Yeah, and you can control what, like, for example, now you can order your groceries online ahead of time. So you literally can control what now you're putting in your home to be more healthy, which now more than ever we need to be focusing on our health so we can fight off things. I gave this example in the group today that we've been meal prepping in the morning since we've been in grad school. Like we would get up early and go to the grocery store and meal prep that same day. And even when our doors were frozen shut in the winter, we would still go. So those were the things we could control. And like you said, getting a good workout. We can work out at home. You can get in push-up, sit-up, squats daily, work out at home. You can go outside, go for a walk. You can control these things. You can't control whether the gym is open or closed. You can't control whether you have to wear a mask or not. Let's be real, if you're going into a store. But what you can control is the things that you grab at the store. You can't go to the gym, well, you can work out at home. Don't have weights, you can still work out. So you have to think about all the things, which I'm going to say now, point number 2. We have to think about all the things we can do instead of the things we can't do. Again, pulling that mindset out of the negative. And it's okay, we're all negative sometimes, it's gonna happen, but you gotta then reverse it, flip it and reverse it, and say, what can I do? What can I accomplish for myself, for my family, in this time of so much restriction,
Yeah, like I just said, it's so easy to get caught up into that vicious cycle of, I can't do this, I can't do that, and you're kind of in this storm of the can'ts. But you almost have to reset yourself and go, okay, stop. And for a second, think and go, what can I do though? And I know you just said that, but no, really, sit and think. And if you're in a spot and you're stuck, you're like, okay, but how can I get unstuck? What can I do? And sit there and figure it out and think for a second.
And the thing, you have to sometimes write it down, right? Make a plan, organize your day. We're all busy. We all have crazy schedules. You got to find a time to, plan out some meals. We have to start cooking in our homes more. Start cooking, start learning how to cook. What can you do? I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm going to the baseball fields, I have 12-hour shifts. I understand. I understand. But no matter our schedule, from school to having practice to now, we've always found a way to get it done. And that's what you have to do is, how can I do this? How can I get myself feeling better and out of this rut? And really that then comes to keeping those promises. So a lot of times we let ourselves slack off a little. But if you really don't feel good, and want to, maybe you've gained some weight during this time and you want to get those extra pounds off, you have to keep those promises. You can't let that stress get to you. And you have to, focus on those things we can take action on.
Yeah, and working out right now is a classic thing. We get that all the time. Gyms are kind of in flux, whether they're open, whether they're not. Every state is different, so people are saying that they're like, I just went back to my gym. It's closed again. I can't go to the gym anymore. Okay.
Right.
So again, go back to that control what you can control, and also what can you start doing?
Yeah.
It's a warm, we're lucky we got warm weather right now through most of the country, so take advantage of that. Go on walks, do body weight stuff like push-ups, sit-ups. Oh my gosh, home workouts, we got plenty available, and they don't require any crazy equipment either.
And that's what I was going to say is the Daily Feel Good on drlindsayschmidt.com. That's why we have both gym and home workouts. We always have, we always will. And we have also workouts that you can do with me. So there's resources out there too. So again, taking in those resources with what you can do.
And we get this a lot, and I get the feeling when you're used to working out at a gym and you do home workouts and you're just I feel like I'm doing nothing. I don't feel the same rush that I normally feel. I don't feel like I'm getting stronger. Change that mindset and start to go, okay, this is giving me an opportunity to go on longer walks and do a steady state fat burning routine there. And then this is also giving me an opportunity, maybe my push-ups aren't that great. This is giving me an opportunity to get better at those push-ups and start to work at them. So I promise you, you start to change your mindset on certain movements, you get better at those movements, and guess what? You are improving, you are growing, even though you may not feel like you are as much because you're not seeing that weight translate into on a bar or whatever else you're doing. So you are growing and improving. You just gotta start to realize that you are and open your eyes a little bit to go, I am getting better, you know?
There are a lot of people that I've seen, you know, they're going hiking or they're getting their kids involved and going on a walk. They're playing at the playground, you know, jumping on the trampoline. Like those are things where you are being active. The goal is movement, you know. So like you said, it's all in self-improvements in different ways, you know, right now. Okay, so now we got point number 3, which I particularly like and is always a balance for me, but remove your negativity that pulls you down, aka protect your energy. So a lot of people that we work with a lot of kind people. There's a lot of kind people out there that like to do things for others. We want to hang out with our peeps, and we want to help people, but sometimes that leaves us feeling very drained. That leaves us feeling emotionally drained, physically drained, and then also there's a lot of negativity out there if you look for it. So also trying to shut out the negativity, work on getting more positive things in your life as well as people, and seek those, you know, things out, because that can really wear you down.
Yeah, I think that's really common right now. Obviously, one of the main things is news and social media, and there's a lot of negativity going around there. Again, go back to point 1 of controlling what we control. You can reduce how much news you're watching or how much content that's so negative that you're consuming. You can make those choices. Like a couple weeks ago, somebody was having issues with someone on Facebook, you know, because of their certain views on things. And it's just like, hey, stop looking at their posts. Stop consuming. If it frustrates you and stresses you or whatever, stop consuming it. It's okay. Everyone has disagreements. Everyone has different views. It doesn't mean you need to consume it and let it affect you in a negative way and then make you go through that vicious cycle of feeling out of control. So that's something we can control. Stop consuming it. Get out. It's okay. Different views. It's all right. Move on. Yeah.
I would say one thing that we've always tried to do is stay pretty level-headed. So like, don't let yourself fluctuate really low and then like really high. And then also, you know, then with that, if I read someone else's opinion, I'm just go, okay, and I move on. You know, I don't let myself get heated. I'm not here to change people's like opinions or minds. Like if they want to learn from us with health and fitness, and that's fine, you know. You can't really just let that thing, every little thing affect you, I guess, especially when everyone has a voice nowadays, which is fine, whatever. But again, look, I just said, which is fine, whatever. You know, I don't have to read it. My feed is very positive. It's full of the ladies that we help. I have a lot of positive things on my Instagram, you know, so you can totally find what you want and seek that out. And that's a great way to protect your energy with things that you are maybe even subconsciously consuming. You know, you might not even realize you're reading these things for 5 minutes, 10 minutes kind of thing. So remove
and even
that.
there's lots of times I'm on social media and I get caught up into it sometimes and I feel like how it affects me in a day. And I feel how negative or angry or frustrated or irritated I am. And I'm like, what's going on? Talking to myself kind of thing. And I start to figure it out. I saw a little too much on social media. I didn't say anything about it, but it subconsciously started to affect the way I feel. So we have to do our best to try to remove those negative things. And, you know, sometimes
that's just hyper focusing on what you have to do in that moment in time in your life. Like hyper focus on you, hyper focus on your goals, say no to things, like, you know, which brings me to point number 4, making time to unplug and time for yourself. It's okay to say no. It's kind of the same like genre, so to speak, as protecting your energy. It's okay to not, you know, do this and that on the weekend with everyone, like to please everyone. Because I know people, you know, they're meeting up in their small groups and stuff and they're mingling. So I guess depending on where you're at, but people I know are. So I guess even with that, find time to read a book. A lot of ladies like to read. A lot of ladies like to, you know, watch church on their computer or bake or cook, you know, listen to music, go outside. Make time to go and do something that fills your cup up.
I think that's a must, and walk away from the things that are affecting you negatively. It goes back to that, if there's something that maybe you're around a certain individual too much and you could tell it's starting to wear on you a little bit, take a little break. Take a little break. It's okay to say no, doesn't matter. You gotta feel good for yourself, and sometimes you gotta walk away for a second to reset, rejuvenate a little bit, and I think when people don't is when it can escalate, when it can become too much for individuals, and that's where individuals can again lose that control and feel upset, and they all keep it inside a lot of the time, and that becomes a time bomb.
It's definitely a vicious cycle of not making time for yourself. It's not selfish, to take time for yourself, and then you don't do that. You feel negative. You start to focus on things you can't control, and then it all just goes downhill from there. And maybe then with that comes stress, and that breaks down the immune system, and then you feel horrible because now you're not feeling good. So it's definitely, I know that may seem dramatic, but it does start with you. If you're caring for your kids, if you're caring for your husband, or maybe your parents or whatever, it starts with you taking time for you, period.
And I think that's one thing that we try to encourage, and we're going to talk about it more often, is you have to start learning more about yourself. And this is mental and physical. There's too many things that we see on a daily, weekly, monthly basis where people do not know their bodies, do not know their minds, do not know enough about themselves. So whether it's, like I said earlier, when I felt a little funky, it was because of social media. But I had to take time to sit with myself for a second. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Kind of like talking to myself. Not enough people do that. Not enough people will sit down and figure out, wait, why do I feel this way? What is really going on? And instead, they just keep taking actions, and those actions translate. And sometimes those actions translate into hurting others. And then those others are like, why did this just happen? Like, why did they react like that? But if you ask the person, why'd you react like that? They couldn't even tell you because they don't even know. Instead, take a step back. We need to start learning more about our bodies, our minds. If we're feeling pain physically or mentally, we have to start figuring out why. Why do I feel this way? What's going on? This translates to everything, it translates to everything. And that's the truth. And that's why we have to start learning more about ourselves.
Well, that's where, though, I get super frustrated because people want quick fixes. And I see it all the time on my Facebook. I actually unfriended someone today because they're posting about a quick fix. And, they get 30 comments on it. And it drives me insane. And I'm talking to you guys listening here. Stop commenting on those posts. Stop eating that up, because it's just helping those companies out. And why I say that is because we focus so much on learning, and it's amazing when I see someone in the group that's a part of the Daily Feel Good that hasn't been in it. They don't have the time. I'm too busy. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone's busy, okay? Everyone's busy. And then all of a sudden, a switch goes off. They start consuming what we're posting in the group. They start using the Daily Feel Good. They start feeling better. All of a sudden, they have time to do all the things. Not all the things like meal prep and getting in their walk, because they're feeling better. They're getting now supplements. They now have the money to get supplements. But it's because they're prioritizing themselves, the food, the supplements, the sleep, the walking. And it's that learning right there. That learning, I finally understand why I need to eat protein. I finally understand why I need to take time for myself. And then their mind starts becoming more positive. And now their kids are seeing them work out, and they're doing a dance party in the middle of the workout. Like, these are the shifts we start to see when people's mindset starts to shift. And I really am a big believer, if you want to fix your health once and for all, and you want to get off the yo-yo train and the diet train, start to learn. But here's the kicker. Don't start learning about fad diets or things that aren't true. That's always the hardest thing. And I laugh because then I say start to learn, and then I'll have someone that comes back to me about a certain diet, and I'm like, are you going to be able to do this for life? I know it feels good to lose 10 pounds fast, but then are you going to gain back 15 after doing this, and then come to me? Yeah, I've seen it happen, and it's just, so that's, again, I'm getting off tangent, but learning, having that growth mindset, that learning mindset, but also making sure those sources are valid and not biased. And, too, if people keep changing their talk points based on fad diets, that's when you have to start questioning that source. Are they moving to one thing after another just to make money? Or I'm going to say like us, even though I'm biased towards us, we've been talking about the same thing for 3 years because it is what it is, yo. It is what it is. We don't change our talk based on the what fad diet's popular.
Because you want to know the truth. Here's the truth. It's hard. It's hard to learn.
It's hard to learn. It does.
And
it is.
It's hard to learn about ourselves, mentally and physically. And sometimes it hurts to learn about ourselves. Why does it hurt? Well, I'll give you a classic example. Let's say we're a quitter. Most times people don't like to be called a quitter, right? I know I don't. But something I had to realize early in my journey was I did do that hopping around, that quick fix stuff. I hopped around. That's what I did. It hurt to start to get to know myself a little bit better and go, you're a quitter. You like to hop around. And because you hop around, you never find any success. Ooh. That was a dagger in my heart to myself. That hurt myself. But you know what? I had to have that hard conversation. And I also had to know that was tough to do. And that was hard to do. But many are not willing to make that step of learning more about themselves because there's things inside that hurt. They hurt. But you got to start learning more about yourself in order to take those steps and go, because I know I jump around, and I know that's the reason I haven't achieved any success. This time, because I called myself out, and I learned more about myself, I did the hard thing, let's do the next hard thing. Let's actually stick with something, and let's see what I can do. And by sticking with something, I actually made that step. And guess what? I learned that lesson. And now you can take that lesson and you can apply it to many different things. But it's because I made the initial hard step to learning more about myself and digging deep to find the stuff that maybe I didn't want to realize about myself. It made me a better person. It made me grow. It made me more self-aware. So we've been there. We know what it's like. But in reality, those 30 comments on the quick fix, it's the easy thing to do. And the hard thing is to continue to learn, is to continue to grow as an individual. And the hard thing is to continue to sit down and actually get to know yourself mentally and physically. That's the hardest.
And the hard thing is once you get that plan in place, A, not give up, okay? And B, takes freaking time. That's why people love quick fixes. Lose 10 pounds by drinking this tea in 1 week. Ooh, it's not gonna happen. And if you do, congratulations, you're gonna get it back. You are. And so that's the hardest thing. And, if someone does quit on us, say, in the daily feel good, let's just say, it's because it didn't happen long enough. But I go, okay, do you know what you're eating? Oh, but you had pizza 3 nights a week? Okay, well, this, it's going to take you longer than to get to your goals, but that's okay because we talk about balance all the time because we're all about the healthy life, working towards a healthy life. So you got to be honest with yourself. That's where it starts. And I see the mindset change all of the time with the ladies and the women who start to say, okay, I'm going to listen. This is awesome. Here we go. It's just so different.
And you know what that reminded me of? I've told you this a bazillion times. It's so silly, but back in the day when I was a kid, I had coaches that said this to me all the time, and it would annoy me so much. They would be like, who are you when no one's watching? And that would drive me up the wall. I hated it. But for some reason, as I've gotten older, that stuck with me. It stuck with me because that's the hard thing, and that's the truth. Even the coach that probably said it back in the day, they probably didn't even live by it. But it's the truth. It's the truth because the hard thing is to do the things when no one's watching. Because we all live in this social world where we all want to show the best of everything. Look at my car, look at my home, look at my social feed, look at my kids, look at this. Yeah, but when you're in the dark and no one's looking at you, who are you? And what are you doing? When no one's watching you and you're home by yourself, are you meal prepping? When no one's making you do anything, are you going to the gym? Are you going for the walk? Most people aren't. I'll tell you the truth. Most people aren't. But for some reason, when I was alone and I was going through struggles, whether it was from my own health to school to business to anything, the times when I'm alone, that always comes back in my head and I go to myself, what are you going to do now that no one's watching? Who are you really as a person when no one can see you? No one can see the truth. What are you going to prove to yourself? And then that's when I try to take more action because of that. And I go, you're right. I'm going to fight. I'm going to do more. I'm going to try to be better. And no one sees it most of the time, but that's okay.
But you have, you have to have that can-do attitude, as cheesy as that sounds, even when no one's watching you, because it's easy. It's easier when people are, watching you. It's like practice. Coach is watching me, got to put in my best. But when you go home and you go practice, are you trying your best then? I mean, I told you this is so stupid, but this is a great example. When I was a kid, I did tap dancing and I was horrible compared to the other girls because the other girls were in ballet and jazz and modern, and then they also did tap dance. Well, I only did tap dance, so I was the worst. But I always got the most improved because I was the worst at the beginning. But I would go home and I would have to record the recital dance song. I'd have to go home and practice by myself. And it was good for me because I could mess up and not be embarrassed, So just like, maybe you're making a recipe or something, you kind of mess it up. You don't have to get embarrassed. It's okay. Keep going. I kept going. And I ended up recital day. I knew the dance. And I tapped my little heart away, tried not to mess up, that one dance. But I know that's so stupid, but it's the same idea as like no one was watching me, in my bedroom doing the tap dance, practicing that so I wouldn't mess up on recital day where everyone was watching me. Because it's kind of the same idea with health and fitness. If no one's watching you and you're eating pizza and stuff, and then you come back to me or your coach or whoever's helping you and you complain because you're not getting results, well, what were you doing when no one was watching you? Because I tell you what, if I didn't go home and practice that recital dance, it would have been obvious. It would have been obvious out on this recital day when I was doing the dance that I didn't know what the crap I was doing. It just wasn't as good. So it's the same idea.
Yeah, and that does apply to everything that's going on right now. Is we're not allowed to see people, so maybe there are times where you're alone.
It is, and that's what it is.
And it's like, well, I should go work out. I should meal prep. I should be more active, but that couch looks kind of nice. I think I'm just going to sit down instead.
You got to go.
I think I'm just going to lay down instead. But it's like, this is a lesson that you can take forever right now during these crazy times is that, it is crazy. There are a lot of things that we can't control. Doesn't mean we can't grow, though. It doesn't mean we can't improve.
And I am a firm believer, too, in making this a learning lesson for your kids. Whatever age they are, trying to teach them something about self-discipline is self-love, making them do their homework if they're doing the remote learning, teaching them about accountability. I'm a really big believer that kids can learn a lot more from this than what we, and even having them help out with cooking. It might take you longer, but now you're teaching your kids how to cook, which you told me that you didn't know how to do and wish you would have learned. Okay, well, now how about you teach your kids that? And those are the kind of focuses, during this time where it's crazy, is start trying to take advantage of those little things that we didn't when we were out and about. Cook more at home, teach your kids, bake some cookies together, let them cook some eggs, in the microwave or teach them those things,
And look, we're not parents.
No.
We don't have a kid.
No.
But I will say this from my perspective, because I know when I give my perspective on parenting and kids, people are like, well, you're not a kid, you're not a parent, so you can't say it. Well, I'll give my perspective as when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I think actions, for me personally, speak louder than words. And I think most kids would probably agree, they just don't realize it, that if you, like you just said, if you show the actions of meal prepping, cooking dinner or whatever, cleaning, going to the gym, working out, being healthier, growing as an individual, kids will watch it. And guess what? You don't even have to open your mouth. You don't even have to open your mouth, because I'll give the perspective of when I was a child, the individuals that I looked up to the most were the individuals that honestly didn't say anything. You could just see it. You could see their actions. You could feel their presence. And they never said a word. But as a kid, I didn't realize it at the time, but as I got older, I realized that I admired those individuals the most. They were just something special to me. And I would be like, I don't know what it is about those individuals, but they're successful, they're proud, they don't even say a word. They didn't like power over me or anything. You could just see it as a kid, their actions.
Well, and that's where a lot of times we see the ladies, now that they're doing home workouts, their kids are doing the workouts with them. The kids are putting the bands around their legs. They know where to put them. And they're like 3-4 years old doing this. And it's hilarious to watch because then they'll film them and they're like, I guess they are watching me. You know, you might think no one's looking, but they're watching me. And same with the food. Like, there might be a reason why they don't like certain foods. They're watching what you're eating and how you react to that food, right? So it's all in what we make of things. And again, like you said, we're not parents, but I mean, we see it in our group, and then also we were kids once too, right? So that's a good example. I always saw my dad being nice to people. He'd hold doors, wave to people in the truck, like, what the heck? You know, I see that, and then I do that, you know, I do those things. But it's because I saw my dad do it. He never said, Lindsay, go hold that door. I would just go do it because I saw him do it, you know? So that's where, again, as a kid, it's what you see. So take the opportunity, I guess where we're getting with this is take the opportunity to make it more of a family thing too, you know, and ask for help from your family, from your kids, and use this as a time to teach. Because again, kids are going to be starting up school and there's going to be remote learning. Maybe it's time for your 8-year-old or whatever to learn some more responsibility with things that you might need more help with around the house. You know, doing the dishes, taking out the trash. These are things that I did as a kid. I mowed the lawn, okay? Did my dad care if it was perfect? No, but he showed me how to mow the lawn, and I would mow it, and if I missed a spot, he would go show me, and I would just go right over it, and I mowed the lawn. But it also carried over with my driving skills, by the way. I was, I think, a better driver. Like, I was more coordinated.
That's questionable.
It's true. It's true, though. But really, though, use this as an opportunity of focusing on the things we can do. Really pull that mindset. If you're feeling overwhelmed, like Derek said, take a moment, sit down, tell your kids to shut up. No. Say, mommy needs a minute, please. You know, take some time for yourself, really, seriously, and try to organize some things. And if you need help, you can reach out to myself, you know, and we have a great community for you to join in on, or, excuse me, we can get you going.
Yep, we can definitely get you going. So
we can help you get out of that slump, all right?
Yeah.
I promise.
We'd have an amazing group. They're all so positive. They're all growing. It's a journey, but we're all getting better. And anybody can too. You just gotta, like I said, do the hard things sometimes, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. You get to know yourself mentally, physically, and it is worth it, but it takes time, but that's okay. You know, it's a journey.
Yep.
So,
rounding it up, baby.
like we said before, if you found this helpful, I know there's parts of this that were helpful. Come on.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. Help us out. Share this with someone that may also find this helpful. Like it. If you're on YouTube, subscribe for us. We appreciate any support that you can give.
Yeah. I was going to say, just give it a screenshot. Tag me in your story. I like that. That's awesome.
Yep.
We also have started up a new Instagram. We're trying to get that going. It's called Daily Feel Good Life. All right. Daily Feel Good Life. On Instagram. We're excited for that aspect. We've had the Daily Feel Good membership for coming up on 2 years. We've helped hundreds of women and families because they bring their families on board too. And so, you know, that's there for you.
Yep. It's there for you on drlindsayschmidt.com. Check it out. Ask us any questions if you have any. And we will talk to you guys next time. Thank you for listening. Love you guys.
Love ya.